a little bit later because we're going into the draft between Blacklist International going up against Echo, where both teams know each other so well. Let's look at the bans.
Off the bat, I'm really wondering what kind of particular bans are going to come out. And for Echo, they seem very targeted. And for the side of Blacklist, you can say it's targeted, but for the most part, you can still say it's just textbook, right? As the Joy here gets banned as well from the side of Echo.
Yeah, looking at the bans coming in from Echo, because again, as a first pick, you can dictate the draft. You can start the momentum, you can start the tempo, because the draft that they've been banning out is, sure, strong picks, but also signaling whatever lineup that they have might have a backline that will not be able to survive when getting engaged by a Benedetta or a Joy.
Yeah, and I guess both teams understand that the front to back isn't as simple anymore in the current metagame, right? You're afraid of heroes like Glue, which is still open. Woo! You're afraid of heroes like Ling in the right hands. So with that being said, I'm guessing this first pick has to play with either the box concept or drawing lines to counter that.
I think for sure that's been a recurring theme, right? 3 very solid frontliners and long distance, long range from the back. There seems to be a formula that has been very popular in the current meta. But for Echo right here, they go for the Eve, trying to get some utility, some range as well. It can be used to zone marksman, but we'll have to see if Blacklist has an answer for it. The open glue, as Leo mentioned, has been picked up, along with a Claude.
All right, so right now looking at the draft, picking up the Eve first is kind of safe, kind of risky as well, because the Eve is very strong in terms of damage as well as the utility. And before we even talk more about the draft, Benny Cutie, a quote here: "I'm not the best gold laner in the world because I don't have an MPL trophy or any other title, so I won't admit it before I win the title on this M4. Strong words from Benny Cutie, where he's like, I'm not gonna feel comfortable until I win.
But again, he can say that he's not the best, but he's one of the best, given that the Storm has weathered most challenges. He's been in the league, he's been a pro player for years now, and he's still here, he's redeeming himself, he's proven the haters wrong.
I mean, in my personal experience, it doesn't matter what we say, it matters what other people understand. So he doesn't have a say of whether he's the best or not. Other people decide. But going back into the draft, where Echo, they have gotten the Fredrin as well as the Harif. As of now, not a lot of room for flex. Sure, the Fredrin can be flexed, but for now, Echo, I would say kind of a lineup that we've been seeing a lot.
And the Harith here, we've seen that it's very effective in the right situations, right? Mobility and survivability from the kit. But honestly, against a lot of beefy members, it does seem like it doesn't lack that hyper DPS in that late game. Although for Blacklist, this is a very quite the early Diggy pick, and we haven't seen it in quite a while.
Yeah, okay, so right now, looking at the draft, because we have to look at the first 3 picks for both teams, because from Echo, they have a pretty strong front to back with the Eve as well as the Fredrin. Putting people in the box make it easy for Harif to actually engage and go in. Now, Blacklist International, they're answering the first 3 picks with a Diggy. Now, we got to think about this. Is the Diggy being used to apply pressure early in the gold lane, or is it really to make sure when it comes to the team fights, the team is going to be safe?
Yes, and they are going to go for a re-engage lineup. And what does a re-engage lineup hate? When they don't control when they go in or out, and that's why they're banning the Franco.
Ooh, Franco ban right here just to ensure that Blacklist can take their fights on their own terms, and of course deny maybe like the forced usage of the time journey. So far, it just seems like a very solid composition, and if they pair it with a solid backline, it's going to be pretty secure, at least on paper. But considering that they have a Claude in their lineup, it's going to be a bit weird deciding where the team as a whole wants to move, right? Do they want to go forward into danger or actually backing away from it?
This is kind of good because they're going to keep Echo guessing, and I feel like the Diggy pick has confidence here just because you see the Fredrin and you're assuming the Fredrin is a jungle, because as a Diggy you can apply a lot of pressure by putting your alarm bombs. It doesn't feel good going up against like an assassin jungler that can kill the Diggy over and over and over again, making the Diggy really not that strong. And because the Valentina has been banned, the Grok has been banned as well, kind of feeling like they don't want too much of an engage coming in from Echo.
And by that, the Orcas are slowly cornering Wise into a pick of their choosing, right? Well, what's left here for Wise to pick up? Because the usual suspects are out. If anything, they might be forcing the jungle Guinevere, which we last saw in the grand final stage of MPL.
a lot of options. Honestly, even if we go back, the Nakai is still available, the Baxia is still available. So there is a lot. Good or bad is really up for debate.
Exactly, especially with how the meta has progressed, you can't really guarantee that these picks that worked quite a long while ago can still be as effective. Because maybe the exact reason why it hasn't been picked up is because teams have been solving that puzzle already. But here we go, got a bit of a sneak peek from the phone. It's going to be a Baxia, and that's going to be a very fast composition coming in from the side of Blacklist.
That's a deep cut, right? I said go back to MPL Philippines Season 10, and then we will go back to like what, Season 8?
It's almost like I'm an analyst.
Whoa.
Like I know what's gonna happen. But yeah, the Dyrov has been picked up, so now Blacklist International, they gotta really prepare what's gonna happen, because with the Dyrov, a lot of the armor that they already have is gonna be shredded. So Echo, with this current lineup, if they want, they could really go aggressive. They could just like pick up a Cho and then just like, I don't care what you guys are gonna do, we're just gonna force the issue.
You either pop the time's journey now, or you suffer the consequences. I like it. It's a proactive way of solving the problem.
That's certainly a way to deal with the time journey, just force them to keep using it. And now I think they were expecting perhaps something, I don't know, they wanted to just pressure you in the jungle, so the Hilda, it's a very annoying pick. And, you know, considering how fast and how pick-orientated Blacklist composition is right now, having a Hilda in the front is going to be such a chore for Blacklist to deal with.
It's also a swerve. And now going into the hands of Haji, of course, this is the Imam special as a savior. So far, I'm liking it. If there's anything missing from Blacklist is that early game velocity. Like, they're going to have to wait until Echo makes a mistake and makes an opening, and then they can ramp up.
I mean, like you said, looking at the drive, looks like Blacklist, they want to re-engage. And I kind of feel like if your comp scales well, and then you have ways to answer a dive, that is a very good drive. Because looking at Echo, that's what they want to do. Sasage, they want to charge, they want to fight, and they want to make sure they apply enough pressure to Blacklist International. So now with the draft, where both teams, in terms of team fight, they're pretty solid. In terms of what they want to do is very different. So about the execution, can Echo execute it well, or Blacklist deny the engages?
It just seems like this is a speed against power, because Blacklist will be around the map really, really quick. Again, with that Baxia, with the fast clearing, with the shield unity. But for Echo right here, when they want to go for a kill, that's a lot of burst damage at their disposal.
With that being said, let's start the first game between Echo and Blacklist International.
All the way in the beginning, we do see that the Demon Slayer emblem is what both junglers try and go for. They want to get that quick clear in the early game particularly, and in that mid lane, there's going to be a bit of a showdown for sure. Both of these mages, they have like decent clear, but as far as how they impact the side lanes, it's a bit different, right? They need to try and get a bit of help, especially from the jungler or the roamer, before they can actually have that kind of impact.
Yep, slight advantage here for Sanji, given that Haji has to work on his stacks, has to make sure that the savior scales up. But down bottom, it looks like it's a deadlock because both are able to clear the wave fast enough and then rotate.
We got to talk about the goal lane as well. So the Diggy is going to apply pressure here onto the Harif. So Yaoi, I want to see whether he decides to help out Manicutie in the goal lane, or he's going to try to apply pressure in the jungle, which kind of doesn't need to, because going up against the Baxia, like, why?
Exactly. Usually the Hilda is being used against assassins just to be that oppressive presence, especially in the early game where the passive is just so annoying to deal with. But now, it seems like Echo is using Yaoi on the Hilda to actually deal with the Diggy pressure, because that shielding is casting all the damage, but look at Oheb, taken very, very low.
Close call. Oheb at about 1/10 of his health. Here comes Wise, bumping right into Yaoi. Oh my Venus. Looking for that reverse time, does not catch it.
Right now, I'm looking at this, and it does look like Echo, they're trying to find the angles, the way that they can start the early aggression. So I want to see if they apply more pressure onto Oheb, because again, as a Claude, before level 4, you don't have a lot of way to clear the minions, so it's very, very punishing to die at like, what, level 3?
Yeah, the wave clear is definitely a big issue, especially against a Diggy that's just constantly trying to actually do some damage, do some poke damage. But with all the members, with 4 at least, 4 people in total in the top side, it doesn't seem like Echo is going for the turtle, but Blacklist is trying to contest it.
Yep, Wise looking for it. Sanford spots him. There's the box by Sanji. Real Revelation. Turtle scared by Carl, and Sanji takes down Wise.
When we look at this lineup, this is what we were predicting Echo. They're going to start the charge. They're the one that is going to say, I'm going to have tempo. And Blacklist, they got to answer this by not dying a lot. And now Rashi, looking at the items, anything that we have to pay attention to.
Does seem like Sanji is going straight for the Enchanted Talisman. With how he's performing, he's going to be using a lot of mana, so it makes a lot of sense. Later on, there'll be a bit more damage being built on his side, but oh my Venus almost gets taken out as Oheb now just goes face-to-face against Yaoi. But he is still on the tank emblem, so tanky, doing a decent amount of damage, especially in the early game, making the best use of that Hilda.
Well, now we got to talk about the Hilda, but before that, Sanford and Edward 1v1. Is there really going to be any big trades here? I don't think so. But on top, Oheb goes down.
Oh no, and the box wasn't even there, so this is just the pure raw power of a Hilda.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about that as well, Arashi, where a Hilda pressuring, sure, but pressuring the goal lane, how does Yaoi do this? Like, what is he really taking advantage of?
He's just taking advantage of the fact that Blacklist doesn't really want to stay and be passive in the lane, so he just stays around there and just keeps moving in and out of vision. And, you know, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But the point is, he's being a disruptive force that's taking away the focus of Blacklist from the rest of the map. And look at that!
Gets a 1v1 question mark, and
Whoa.
there's bodies falling for Blacklist all across the map. V and Wise taken down 3 for none, 5-0 scoreboard.
5-0, 2K goal difference, and in my map, Oheb goes in against Benny Cutie. Will this be a good idea?
Summon Force put in underneath the turret. Oheb very low. Carl Deasy gets the kill, flanked him from the back line. Oh my Venus falls as well. LaFell, you were saying?
Now, I'm just saying right now, 7-0, 2.4. In my opinion, if you're a scaling composition, you don't want to lose more than 2,000 gold, and now it's 2.6 in the first 4 minutes.
Echo, man, they just find their power spikes, and once they felt they had an opportunity, every single member just went for the 1v1 plays all over the map, and at the same time, 3 members from Blacklist gets taken out. That is not ideal at all, and now with that pressure, Echo will be going for the neutral objective, and according to the pattern, they're going to try and take some turrets.
That's a free turtle. LaFell, that 2K threshold, can we call it the LaFell threshold? Because that's essentially what sets apart good teams when they can read that situation.
Hey, if anything can be named after me, I'm gonna take it. And now it's 3K. Looking at the items here, looking at Blacklist, the only one that has completed the item is Wise on this box here with the Radiant Armor. Is it enough, Arashi, for them to kind of negate some of the attacks coming in from Echo?
Well, they can negate some damage, especially from Harith as well as the Yve, but I mean, Yaoi on the Hilda is still doing a massive amount of damage, and don't forget, this Dyrod, Sanford on this Dyrod is actually one of the main counters for Wise, so the Radiant Armor will not be helping in that department.
Oh, Venus already committing the flicker. Carl Deasy gets a beat on the Queen, and Appraiser's Wrath taking down the Diggy. Second, make that third death for the roamer.
And right now, Blacklist, they have nothing to answer. They gotta slow it down. Oheb just completed his Demon Hunter sword, and Wise tries to do it, but he can't do anything. 4 members on the Wise.
He's cornered here. 3 members make that 4 Wise. Chrono, Fissure. Oh no, there's the box. BMI out. 1 down. They're just doing damage control here. Blacklist.
Blacklist is getting corralled, getting cut off from their base, and honestly, Echo is just making the best use of this early game pressure, and they're not done just yet.
Oh, Sanford flickering on out. They catch Edward. Here comes the cavalry. Oheb with a blazing duet on out of dodge. Lightning and thunder pushing away Echo.
Right now, looking at the situation, Blacklist International, they're very comfortable of playing from behind, trying to wait it out, trying to make sure they fight at equal ground. But now, I gotta ask you, Arashi, Blacklist, realistically, what can they do to stop the bleeding?
They need to try and just prepare the crowd control, stick together. But the problem is, for Echo right now, every single member, generally the main carries, can't go for those solo kills yet again. So if they just stick together, yeah, maybe they can avoid getting killed, but then Echo will just start destroying them in the macro gameplay, in the rotation, in the vision game, and that is not ideal either.
Oh, Edward catches one. Here comes the RWM. Diggy, oh my Venus with the Time's Journey. They take out Sanford first. Where was the damage? Amazing play by Blacklist. They get a pick off, but oh, they pay the price. Down goes Oh My Venus. They're gonna collapse down onto Edward, and he goes for the split. Split is off a cooldown. Rides on to Carl Teasy. Puts him in a compromised position. Here comes Wise. Still he get his purple buff. Yowie making space. Edward getting pulled in. Wise still here as well. Benny Cutie summon force. Where's Edward going? Goes on through the wall. Suffers a death. The storm is here, and they disengage. Oh, they find Haji. Will they find him? Will they get him? Oh, RWM one more time. Sanji, his team fight's going on forever.
It's just 7 minutes, but the damage coming in from Echo is so much, and Wise, he's gonna get taken down.
Oh, Dawning Light unable to save those two in mid. Be Wise fall underneath tier 1.
3 members down despite the best efforts from Blacklist to try and control the damage. It's just so much burst coming in from the side of Echo, and look at that. There's nowhere to save.
They're not done. Carteezy finds him in the back line. Sanji with the Void Crystal. Pop in Oheb. And now Edward and Oh My Venus finding sanctuary underneath tier 2.
This explosiveness is controlling Blacklist International. Looking at the items right now, the Xavier only having the Clock of Destiny really won't deal out that much damage. And the Clot, 8 minutes in, only with the Demon Hunter sword. Blacklist right now in this game is looking very one-sided. Arashi and Oh My Venus has to use the ultimate to get out of the RWM.
I mean, Sanji right here with the Ice Queen's wand. Just popping that alone is enough threat for Blacklist to just react with so many skills. And on top of that, Benny Cutie is supposed to be a late game hero. He has so much damage right now.
Oh, it's a full-on engage. Haji very low. Oh, Appraiser's Wrath puts him on 1 HP. Grandma! Sanford finishes him off through the wall. Now it's Edward in the front line. Split. Yowie cordoning off the rest of Blacklist as they go for this purple buff steal. It's calm for now, but Echo are just pummeling on through Blacklist jungle straight to the Lord.
Right now, I honestly, Leo, I gotta ask you, because Blacklist, 7,000 gold down. Should they be getting any kind of view of getting a comeback? Who is it going to come from? Is it going to come from Haji, Oheb? Who's going to make that comeback happen?
In that sentence alone, they went up another 1,500. Right?
Oh, wow.
It's at 9 now almost. So I'm guessing if it's up to me and if it's something that I've seen before, given my history with Blacklist, it's got to come from Haji. So again, protect Haji at all costs and protect the map.
I have to agree with that statement, man. Haji is the one with the wave clear. Haji is the one that later on, I guess, can just do a lot of poke damage with a Dawning Light. So I think he's a big factor. And if Echo still goes with his aggressive style, he's the one with the Mystic Field that can stop a lot of this playmaking. But look at that. It's so aggressive coming in from Echo.
Oh, look at the angle that Yowie and Carl are drawing. Concealed play by Yowie. Disengages, pushes them away, allowing Carl to steal the orange.
Right now, Echo, they're really pushing hard because Lord is coming up top. They're pushing Blacklist away from the turrets. They're taking it one by one, almost a 10,000 goal lead. Oh My Venus as well as Oheb, they are at half HP. They can't even handle the range, the siege coming in from Echo.
Oh, there's the RWM keeping down Oh My Venus, forcing the Time's Journey. Lord swinging away, shield popped, and the inhibitor up top, and they're still going. Sanji swiping, tapping, Edward taking care of that wave in mid. Echo disengages.
Man, that poke damage coming in from Sanji is just brutal, man. With the glowing wand right here, every instance of damage is getting buffed, and even the tankiest member, like Edward, will just start suffering from that percentage HP damage. Taking a look at the items, Oheb has the golden staff, but is it too little too late? If you compare him to Benny Cutie right now, there's a lot of true damage.
Oh no! Right underneath that inhibitor, they take down Haji, blazing the way by Oheb, but it's a little too late. They're gonna take it down. Another RWM. Yowie very low, still gets out, has an immortality. No casualties from Echo. Blacklist can't punish.
Yeah, Blacklist can't punish because, again, a difference of like 1.5 items right now between Echo and Blacklist. Like, that is
Per hero,
mind you. So now, like, the deficit is like so big. Even I'm asking myself, is this really comebackable?
The gold difference is almost at the 1k gold per minute, man. It is insane, the tempo that Echo is pushing onto Blacklist. And despite their best efforts, even now, the jungle is just never really a safe place. And the only time Blacklist can come out is when Echo pulls back. But even that might be a trap, because that means there's a longer distance that Echo can just run Blacklist through, right? Just chasing them all the way with the slows, with the crowd control. And it's a nightmare for Blacklist right now.
Good news, bad news. There's a push by Oheb in the bottom lane. Bad news is, as soon as Echo takes this Lord here, it's Luminous, 12 minutes past, it's going to be harder to rely on Haji. It's going to be difficult for Imam alone to be the insurance policy, because they can't stay in their base alone, because Echo's going to keep coming.
If anyone asks us again, like, what is a snowball, I kind of feel like this game is the definition of a snowball, taking a small lead up in the gold lane and then translate it all over the map. 11,000 gold difference. Blacklist, oh my Venus, using the Diggy is good at protecting the backline, but it's not tanky. The items as well is built on utility mage items, so he can't tank the damage. The only one that can is Wise and Edward, but at this point, it doesn't look like it's enough.
It is an Imperial Wrath Diggy, so it's supposed to actually do a lot of poke damage, but against a Hilda, against a Fredrin, it's just not enough, and now Echo make the deciding play.
Oh, wow. Sanji with the Void Crystal alone forces Haji underneath the base. They're going to force the issue here. Lord swinging away at the base. Tier 3 turrets, inhibitors in bottom, very low. Mid as well, compromised. There's a wave crashing on through. Blacklist holding on.
Right now.
There's an RWM forcing out the Time's Journey. Wise coming in. Oheb with that blazing duet. He's very low. Yawi gets the kill. Down goes the Filipino sniper. Yawi gets his immortality pop with a Salmon Force. Haji goes down. They're going to swing away. Oh my Venus popped here by the back line. Edward takes down Yawi. Wise very low. Can Sanji finish the job? The answer is no. It's up to Edward now. He's down as well. It's just Wise. Echo takes game 1.
Echo starting the series off with a very decisive victory. We're looking at Grand Finals. In fact, look at Blacklist International. Even they look flabbergasted. What happened just now?
They just look absolutely confused, man. They try to go and play reactive, try and curb the aggression coming in from Echo. But with those picks, with how many late game heroes they're relying on to scale into that late game, it wasn't nearly enough. Trying to just use the Diggy and the Baxia to be an annoying factor in the early game was completely shut down by Echo. Off the back of that Hilda, just absorbing all the damage, and of course the Daiwa just softening up that Baxia.
I think game 1 alone might be proof that Blacklist has a lot to pick up from how much Echo has grown throughout the knockout stage alone, right? This is not the same Echo we watched in the Grand Finals months ago. This is a different beast.
It's not just grown, it looks straight up evolved. Echo looking very scary. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that is the stuff of nightmares. That's the kind of thing that makes you stop playing ranked.
That's if that was a ranked game, I would have just said settings, bro. Just concede, just 11K, 12K. So again, that just shows how dedicated and how clear the vision is for Blacklist, that they didn't just let go. They were still trying to hold on, but again, Echo just went for the throat.
Hey, if you want to grow, if you want to get that good, if you want to evolve, you got to play more Mobile Legends. Bang Bang M4 Battle Night goes live this January 21. Expect loads of events and rewards up for grabs in-game. First off, complete battle tasks in the game on January 21 to get a skin, choice, chest. Choose what you want, anything. You can choose the skin you like most from the chest. Aside from that, battle bonus awaits you on the same day. Play matches and you'll get team star protection for 3 matches, double star rising points, double protection points, double EXP, and double BP for 5 matches. And that's all we have for you folks. No, I'm lying. Free access to all heroes and loads of epic skins will also be available that very day. Save the date. Log into the game on January 21, enjoy the match, and win tons of rewards. Let's all celebrate the M4 Championship together, including with your friends. And if you don't have ones, it's okay. You can get some. Somewhere.
Somewhere.
Try your very best. Because not everything comes for free. Sometimes you gotta buy friends. But either way, I wanna listen to the analysts because that was a pretty one-sided match. So, analysts, is there anything that we're missing?
sparring friends, really. Ladies and gents, welcome to the analyst stand. My name is James, joining me right here, Assassin Dave and Gideon. Well, I was watching the whole show of it, basically whole game number one from the stands, and I tell you, it is kind of surprising for game number one, right, boys?
Of course, of course. I mean, Echo is making it look really easy with the draft, but again, you can definitely see that there are layers to this, especially with how they want to control the lanes and as well as pushing the aggression.
Now, when you mentioned the draft, I gotta say that was a beautiful draft coming out from Echo. Blacklist picking the Diggy, you can see that they're trying to strategize this draft, right? The Diggy is gonna counter the Chow, and is one of the Oh My Venus really comfortable picks, right? That's one of the hero pulls. And then obviously taken out, but smart pick from Echo with the Hilda. Let's take a look at items here from everyone.
Yep, looking at items, I think items not exactly important, it's the numbers up top, 21 to 2.
Absolutely. I mean, when you have Yaoi initiating and running into Blacklist jungle to figure out where Wise is going to be, they have a really good idea of where they're going to be, you know, applying their resources, and that is going to be mid as well as the gold lane. Echo immediately identify that, understand that they're going to be targeting Yaoi, so therefore switch up the plan a little bit more. Because if we're expecting Haji to carry, he needs items, he needs times, and the same goes for Oheb at 2 items. Echo immediately forcing it down their throats on the gold lane.
Yep, Blacklist International on the other hand, if you noticed earlier just now during the item builds, right? Oh My Venus going for the Diggy on a non-tanky build. What do you think, Dave?
I think when you're behind, it wouldn't make sense to actually go with the damage build because you're trying to one-shot someone. That's the only chance for you to come back. Now let's take a look at the team fight participation here. Everyone from Blacklist has 100%. Now we only have 2 kills. That kind of make a lot of sense, but it just shows that Echo coming into today's match prepared. They know the strategy. They know they actually 2 steps ahead, right? But Blacklist going to the next game, can they think about, you know, try to not prioritize a glue pick, for example, even though it's one of the most meta pick, but was obviously countered by Darrow. It was shown in the game yesterday when Echo was playing against Onyx, and today we're seeing it again.
I think Leo put it very well, right? Like, I think Blacklist International may have said that, okay, this is the same Echo in MPLPH, but in M4, you can start to see like different teams already slowly growing up and, you know, changing the strategies on the board, and it's just evident right here in game number one, right, Gideon?
It really is evident, and I think, you know, they're coming up with interesting ways to actually go above and beyond, because again, we're expecting to see, you know, Dairoth completely just shred down the blue overall, and then they start pressing their influence into the jungle, which affects Wise a lot. And when you have Diggy, how can you really defend it at the end of the day?
Yep. We're going to take a look at MVP coming out from the side of Echo. In my opinion, I think it is going to be Benny QT, of course. But looking at this, it's going to be awarded over to Sanji instead. Yet, I agree. The real-world manipulation, these boxes set up, we've seen a lot of Eve all throughout the board. Dave, what do you think that made Sanji this MVP Eve?
I think even though the MVP is given to Sanji, but he had to give a lot of credit to the entire team of Team Echo, right? Now they have a vision, they have the Hilda pick. I was going to talk about the draft again because of the Diggy pick. Echo answered it perfectly with that. And obviously, Gideon, you know a lot more about Echo than I do, so.
Absolutely. I mean, like, when we break it down to the matchup already, he's just pushing it out way faster in comparison to someone like Xavier. But, you know, in the famous words of Sun Tzu, you gotta roll fast and eat some, well, you know, you get the idea as Sanji continues to push out and, you know, make his influence known. That gold lane had no real way to actually protect itself. Yeah. Use real-world manipulation, I'm guaranteed for that time journey, and just look at that pressure. He's not even walking into the lane, it's just cutting off the reinforcements that are supposed to go for the gold.
Yeah, I think especially towards a team like Blacklist, right? Like, the most important lane that you want to counter against is that mid lane. Once the mid lane is more of your stronger lane, the whole team that Blacklist needs to rotate around, then you don't have access to the side lanes, you don't have access to the bottom lane as well. So you're forced to basically stay in the mid lane, and I think that's where Sanji truly shines, especially in the early game.
Yeah, because the meta is heavily focused towards the winning lane, right? Like, can you win lane from the gold lane, from the EXP lane, and from the mid lane as well? And now we're taking a look at the highlights to see exactly what happened in the mid lane. We saw that Sanji, he heavily focused on mid, and then with the map slowly but surely opened up by Karl TZ, by the Hilda played by Yaoi there, he's able to rotate with the team, and look where our Eve is on the map right now, right? He's deep in the enemy jungle, getting vision, and this is zoning the entire team away.
Yeah, and I think, you know, and most importantly, it's about lane priority. It's just who gets there first, who can make that first move. And Blacklist, unfortunately, just a little slow. You can't even blame them for being slow on rotation. They're playing boxing who can hop over walls. Echo literally just cutting off those supply lines. And once you have that 11k gold lead, it's really hard to kind of throw it from that position.
Yes, and I think the lack of the fact that I think the way that Diggy wants to play from the side of the Blacklist International is to zone people out with the bombs. But you can also, you've also noticed there's also a